Baru live, baru live. Okay. I will share my screen. Share my desktop.
Okay, dia delay sikit.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Yeah, it's already on YouTube. So you can see. Hi, Assalamualaikum, Dr. Adib. I can see Dr. Adib in. Dr. Rasmina, no, Roslina. Okay. So we have a few people join in. Let's give 2 or 3 minutes. We give time to people to join in. Let me check again. Kee Man, you're still there?
Yeah, I am.
All right, okay. So our session is already live. So let's wait for people to trickle in. So for those who have joined in, welcome. Maybe we can you can introduce yourself from which university or from where, from which institution, and if you can hear me clearly, please say yes. You can hear clearly. So these are just a normal checkup to check everything is okay before we start the session today. Welcome Hasnain Zafar from IMU. Hasnain, you are still with IMU? Assalamualaikum, Hasnain. Okay, I think we should start now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat sejahtera. Hello everyone. Welcome to YouTube live session this afternoon. And today we have a special guest, invited speaker, Mr. Chuah Kee Man from UNIMAS. I will introduce him shortly. Kee Man is on standby now. So our topic today is on challenge-based tasks for online learning. We are still looking at the engagement, the student engagement, because it's very, very important aspect of online class or online course, because it's not easy to get students to engage during the whole session. About 1 hour, for example, you have a 1 hour class, and if you conduct 1 hour session online, it's very difficult, always very challenging, even for seasoned, for experienced online teachers or online educators to engage the students. So I think we will have more topics like this to talk about student engagement, what kind of interactive learning activities we can design for them. So today I invite Mr. Chuah Kee Man from UNIMAS to talk specifically on this aspect. The title is challenge-based tasks for online learning, and he's going to share with us specifically three type of challenge-based tasks or challenge-based activities with us. So before I pass over to Kee Man, maybe I just share a few slides with you. As usual, in my online session, I always share a few books of my favorite books. And these are two books which I would highly recommend for you to have and to read. One is Designed for How People Learn by Julie Dixon. Very simple book. If you remember previously, I show you one book, how people learn, I think. And this is another book here, Designed for How People Learn by Julie Dixon, which is quite a thin book. But if you want to understand more about adult learning theories, please get this book. And another one is also it's actually quite an old book, but still very relevant and to me very, very good. The title is Creating Significant Learning Experience, an Integrated Approach to Designing College Courses by L.D. Fink. I think this book is quite popular among people from education, especially those who do research or teach about learning design, about student engagement. So these are the two books that I would like to share with you. Get this book and read them, because you can get a lot of tips and good points, ideas from these books. Okay, the question that I want to ask all of us today, when we look at how we conduct online session, how is it different from the face-to-face classroom in terms of how do we engage students during the whole session? Because as I mentioned many times, it's always a very challenging aspect of conducting any class. And it's even more in the online environment or online class. So the question is it possible for course facilitator to create an immersive online learning experience? The keyword there is immersive, meaning that if we can create learning activities or the strategies for student engagement in such a way that during the 1 hour session, for example, they will be fully engaged. They would not leave the computer screen. They would not leave, they would leave their table. They will be there and hooked to the computer screen. So this is a challenge that I think that probably today Mr. Chuah Kee Man can partly share with us how we can do that. Yeah, I hope Kee Man can do that. Kee Man,
Can.
Man, I'm not putting pressure.
It's okay.
So Ganamitra, I don't know whether you have listened to his talk, the TED Talk. The title of his TED Talk is Build a School in the Cloud. And this is what he said. It's not about making learning happen, but it's about letting it happen. What's the difference? Making it happen is like we are forcing learning to happen. We are forcing the students. But remember, we are dealing with adult students here. So how do we create a situation where we leverage on their motivation? We leverage on their motivation and we design the online session in such a way that we can make letting learning happen. So this, the thing that we want to, hopefully we can answer partly. So I want to share two quotes before I pass over to Kee Man. This is by Sandy Novak. He said, "It is not until students construct their own knowledge that true learning occurs." So there's a true constructivist, I think, approach here. The idea of letting the students to construct their own learning, scaffold their learning with our guidance, with our help, using the design that we have designed for them. So that's one quote that I really love. And the second one is, healthy classrooms are characterized by thought, wandering, and discovery. Thought, wandering, and discovery. Because learning basically is messy. Learning is about connecting the dots, the random dots, and making sense of what they have learned. So that's from Carol and Tomlinson. So I guess that's about all, because today, let me introduce Mr. Chuah Kee Man. So Kee Man, can you take over? I will stop my screen sharing here.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you can see on the screen here, the handsome guy from UNIMAS, Mr. Chuah Kee Man. I think Kee Man, Mr. Chuah has a background, I think, on language. He's teaching, I think you are doing TESOL, Kee Man, eh? Is it?
Linguistics.
Oh, linguistic. Okay. Why not I pass over to you, and I let you to introduce yourself briefly, and this opportunity for you to tell everyone. Then can start over. You can start the session after that. Carry on, please.
Thank you, Prof. Karim. Hello, everyone. I mean, it's indeed an honor to be part of this session, to kickstart kind of like the series of what Prof. Karim has mentioned, more sharing of ideas, activities that we can use in online learning environment. It may not be, real time all the time, but at least we have some ideas on how to improve our delivery of online teaching. So my full name is Chuah Kee Man. You can call me Kee Man. I prefer people call me Kee Man, not too formal. I'm from UNIMAS, currently the Deputy Director of Center for Applied Learning and Multimedia, in charge of teaching excellence. But I've been in e-learning for quite some time. So this is kind of like something that I'm passionate about. So today, Prof. Karim gave me a task to talk about challenge-based tasks or activities. So I will share what I know based on my experience as well as my knowledge in the field. So feel free to also suggest. Yeah.
Before that,
yeah.
You're teaching in UNIMAS, right?
Yeah.
But you are not Sarawakian.
Oh yes, I'm not Sarawakian. I'm from Kelantan.
From Kelantan. Okay.
Yeah, but it's my 15th year, I think. Yeah, 15 years in Sarawak.
In Sarawak, okay. All right, carry on. Sorry to.
Right, okay. So what I will do is I will start my session with a few intro, and then we'll do some activities together, and then after that I'll pass back to Prof. Karim, and then we'll do a Q&A session together. So it won't be long because we need to walk the talk. Don't talk too much. I'm going to share my screen now. All right, so can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. Okay, so I'll be talking about challenge-based tasks for meaningful online learning. So I'll go through a few intro just to set the stage for our session today. And I would like to start with this quote by Steve Jobs. Technology is nothing. What's important is that you have a faith in people, that they are basically good and smart. And if you give them tools, they'll do wonderful things with them. So I believe every one of you in front of me today, watching this session, are all good and smart people who will do wonderful things no matter what tools we give you. And today, the tools that I will introduce to you are basically tools that are suitable for challenge-based activities, as well as any other activities that you think are relevant to the function that the tools can provide. So don't limit yourself to what I'm sharing. So if you think more things can be done based on the tool, just feel free to share. All right, so let's start. Yeah, when we talk about challenge-based tasks, a lot of people think, oh, another buzzword. It's not really a new thing. It came out of this challenge-based learning concept by Apple. So, most Silicon Valley companies like Apple, Google, they tend to have their own set of beliefs in training the staff to generate new ideas, to develop new innovation and all that. So just so happened, challenge-based learning came about from the Apple initiative of encouraging people to solve real problems or real challenges. To me, it sounds a bit similar to PBL, problem-based learning, but with more action and reflection. And I think the key is on the reflection, more of the, the problem itself. So you can read up more on this, but I will not bore you with the facts. Just that what are the key components of challenge-based learning? These are the three things. There are many actually, but I put the first three as the priority. You're going to start with the big idea, and then you have essential question or questions, depending on what are you focusing on, and then potential challenge or challenges. So there are three components that fits into CBL or challenge-based learning. The big idea. From there, you develop essential questions, and then from the question, you try to see the potential challenges that you can tackle in order to come up with a solution. So the following tasks that I will introduce you today will kind of like centered on these three things. All right. So as Prof. Karim has mentioned just now, the book about how people think actually echoes a lot in what CBL is about, meaning asking a lot of questions, reflecting on your action, and try to come up with better ideas. So I hope that sets the stage a bit. Let's go to the first challenge. All right. Oh yeah, how to augment CBL in an online learning environment. Meaning, how do we implement this in online learning environment? A lot of people think that it's challenging to have CBL when you cannot have collaboration, meaning to say you're working individually, and how are you going to pull the team together? A lot of things can be done, but today we try to go slow a bit by looking at three suitable tasks that you can use. Okay, now let's go to this one. Challenge number one, I call it the link. Okay, what will happen is I will show you a clip, and then I will ask a few questions based on the clip, and then you have to provide your answer in the link given. So what you can do now, you can go to the link first, use your mobile phone or your laptop or whatever devices that you have. Go to that link first, is.gd/CBL chat. All right. And then from there, I will show you a clip, and then you will give me your answer. Is that all right? Are you able to go in?
Yeah, right. I've told them I tell them to participate.
Yeah. Just go to this link, is.gd/CBL chat. It's actually a platform, very simple, low bandwidth chat box that you can just respond. Used to be Today's Meet, I think. Now Today's Meet is no more. So this is somewhere you can use. is.gd/CBL chat.
CBL chat. All right.
Are you able to go in?
Yes.
You have to give your nickname and then just be ready. So what will happen is...
No, a real name.
Up to you. You can give any name for now. So I'll show you the clip, and then, I mean, this is just a simple clip. Don't be too excited about it. But what happens next is, like, after you watch the clip, I will ask you a few questions, and then you try to answer it in the box so that we can see your answers, right? Because I think the YouTube chat is a bit too hard to see your answers, so I suggest we use this tool, all right?
I learned new tool today, Kee Man.
Yeah.
What's the name of the tool?
This is UTeach, I think. Yeah. It's by Hong Kong universities.
Oh,
Hong Kong University. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to load? Okay, if you can't go in, don't worry. You can just type your answers in the YouTube chat, all right? Just in case, things can happen.
No, we can see we can get to the website.
Yeah.
We don't have to log in, right?
You don't have to log in. You don't have to.
We don't have to log in. Okay.
If you can't go in, it's okay. Don't worry. This is just a
what
way
are we
of
supposed to do
communicating.
now, Kee Man?
Okay, now I'm going to show you a clip. All right. You have to watch on the screen now. So I'm going to show you this clip. All right, are you able to view the clip?
Not yet. I think there's a delay.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Oh, I think I need to share a different screen.
Correct.
Correct?
You need, yeah, you are sharing PowerPoint, right? You're not
Yeah, I
sharing.
have to share a different
Yeah.
screen. Sorry about that. Let me just go.
Better share the screen.
Okay.
Okay. Now we can see the video. All right.
Okay. Are you able to see the video?
There's a delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming now. Just coming on. Yeah, just come up on the screen.
Okay, based on the video, try to guess what's the problem now.
Oh, okay.
Based on this short clip just now, try to guess what's the problem with this thing. This whatever it's trying to demonstrate to you. Can you kind of like list out the problem or challenges that you are seeing based on this short clip? So I'm gonna play it again.
Okay.
So you can go to that link just now and type in your answer, or you can type in the YouTube chat, right?
Okay. We are responding now. Okay, we can see Hasnain linking the bridge. Tanks need to be over the water.
No idea what's the problem.
Okay.
No boat, no labels.
Wave, yeah, variable sea level.
How much is the maximum load?
Yeah.
Good question. The water is rising, almost reach the jetty.
Changing water level. The problem, how much is the maximum load the boat dock can sustain? The water is rising and almost reach the jetty. Oh, not bad.
Not bad. I mean,
They are not sleeping.
students. Any more coming? Some say, I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah, okay. Basically, this is a demonstration only.
Yeah.
But it's good if you can think of the proper answer.
There should be a link between two objects. Yes. Yeah. Boat missing. YouTube chat says gap between two bridges. This is a tough question. Yeah, it is tough. Okay, I'm gonna play it again.
Yeah.
All right. I think you can see from the clip, even though you may not know what it is, when I pose a question like that, you have all kinds of answers because it's how you perceive the image or the visual given to you. So in challenge-based tasks or challenge-based learning, we don't limit the problem or the challenge based on our interpretation, all right? But we open it up first and then see the responses from the students or from the learners, and then we try to direct them to a better problem or better questions or the idea, right? Let's say if I now give you more input, let's say this is a floating dock, right? And then this is where you're supposed to reach the land, all right? So like most of you mentioned, there's a missing link between these two objects, right? Or these two things. So right now, the question goes, watch the clip again. you have to choose whether the solution is A, B, C, or D.
Oh. Oh.
Aha.
Okay, so we have to
Whether
type
it's
the answer.
A, B, C, or yeah, you can type the answer in the chat or in the box. Let me just open the chat box. A lot of you, yeah, I have two answers now. D. Like peanuts. Maybe I shouldn't show the answer. Okay, B, we have at least a variety. B, we have A, we have C. Interesting, all right? Some people don't get it. All right, no, it's okay. All right. The boat is far. All right. Save money, don't build too long. Because I have short legs. All right. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of A and D, I think, all right, based on the answers with all kind of reason. I have not asked you the reason yet, but some of you have given me the reason.
Okay.
More stable. Right, I'm gonna play it again. Just a short one, okay?
I think people from engineering should be able to answer this correctly.
Yeah, correct. All right, if I were to stop at this static image, wait, sorry. Okay. Now, a lot of you actually chose A and D, with some choosing B and C with all kind of reason. Did you realize that all answers are possible? A, B, C, and D. It's just that you have to give your reasoning behind the choice of A, B, C, and D, correct? So in challenge-based tasks like this, it's good for you not to give the how to put it, the idea or the essential question immediately. I like the fact that a lot of you are asking questions. You know, I don't get it. You know, what's this and all that. It means you ask more questions to clarify certain things. So in challenge-based learning, that's what we encourage. And if you notice, those who want practicality or those who want faster, they will go for A, because it's more economical and all that. But if you look at the safetiness, probably A is not an option, right? Because it's too steep for certain people, maybe, all right? And it looks quite close to the edge. If you go for C and D, they are quite similar. It's just that D is a bit wasteful because it's a bit too long. So the answer could be B or could be C, right? There's no definite answer until you set the reasoning behind it. So I think in challenge-based learning, if you want the learner to understand this, you have to follow up with another set of questions. For example, if you were if you were to choose A, what is your reasoning, and then and so on. And based on this example, you can do so many things. You can teach trigonometry, you can teach engineering, all right, and a lot of things. What I'm trying to tell you here is this is a sample of how if you're teaching online, just by using a short clip like this, you can trigger more questions that the student can pose and more ideas for them to generate based on the simple task like this. So if you think video is not the way to go, let's say it's a bit hard for you to play the clip like what I'm doing now, you can always give them the static image or image of before and after and let them choose and let them reason out. I think the whole point here is they should be questioning it rather than just giving the option A, B, C, and D, just like what you were doing just now. A lot of you were asking a lot of questions, which is very good. Or else, you know, you don't know why you choose A, you don't know why you choose B, and then learning will not be that meaningful, right? So, yeah.
So in challenge-based learning,
You,
the teacher design it in such a way that you don't reveal the answer too soon,
correct.
right?
Correct. In fact, the answer can be A, B, and C, D depending on how you pitch it. Meaning, if you're looking at, let's say, if you give the problem to the learner by saying that, oh, we don't have enough budget, we have a very limited budget, right? You can only build a certain length, then they will have to go for A and B maybe. They can't go for C and D. But if you give them a task saying that we need to take care of the safety of the boat passengers and whatnot, then they may want to consider C and D. So it's open-ended, all right? That's what challenge-based is all about. Don't limit the ideation process so that the learners will not be too restrictive in terms of generating the ideas or solutions. So I think something for you to think about. I'm not saying this is like a perfect example, but just to illustrate to you how certain thing can be done. Right? Okay, are we okay with this? Right.
So I repeat again that
Yeah.
in challenge-based learning, it is based on open-ended problem, right?
Yep. Much like problem-based learning, just that the problem-based learning, the trigger is kind of fixed. In challenge-based, it's slightly more open. Yeah, slightly more open.
Okay, it's clear.
Okay. Let me go to, I'm going to share a different screen now. Stop share. Sorry. I have to do this because the slides in.
Do you want to get participant to pose a question at this point or maybe later?
Yep, sure.
Maybe for this particular
For this
challenge,
example, yeah.
any specific questions on how this challenge-based learning may be different from problem-based learning? But Kee Man has explained that in problem-based learning, the trigger is fixed. But in challenge-based learning, it's more like open-ended problems. And it is designed so that to take the students through a sequence of questions, right, Kee Man?
Yep.
Okay.
And the problem, I think the issue with CBL is that a lot of people say, what if it's too open-ended, that you can't get a definite answer? Really, the challenge is like, it's based on the question that the learners ask. If you look at the core of it is the question that the student asks. So like this one, you have the idea, you set the problem, for example, the question that the learners ask will be the one that you deal with. Let's say some of you will argue that, oh, this is not the way, this is not the right way, and so on. Or based on certain point of view, from an engineering point of view, it's like this and all that. That's good, because that would actually allow learning to occur more meaningfully. Imagine if you pose a question and everyone is giving you A, but they have no feedback, right? And nobody is arguing anything about it and so on. So sometimes they don't really know why, right? And even if they know why, they're not willing to share, right? So this kind of challenge make the learners like try to explain why certain answer is given or why certain choices is chosen, right? So again, this is just an example. I believe there are more better, there are better examples out there. But if you know more about CBL, you can share in the chat box as well. And I'm not the expert of this CBL anyway, right?
I think this is great. This is good, Kee Man. I think this is one approach that we really can use to engage students cognitively, I think, rather than we just giving them content by giving lecture.
Yep.
But we can design it. This really take the students to the higher order thinking level in the Bloom taxonomy, right?
Yeah. And then if you try to relate to PBL, to me, if you ask me personally, I will say PBL and CBL are quite the same, right? The only difference is like in CBL later on, the reflection, the action taken are more compared to PBL. So because it's developed by Apple to develop innovation, so they are doing all this prototyping and whatnot. That's the later stage of CBL, and process. But I'm just picking the first three, which is quite essentially the same as PBL. So don't worry about the buzzword. The whole point is, the task should not be too restrictive until there's no meaningful interaction between you and the learner, and also learner between learners. Right?
Okay, Kee Man, there's a question from Zamzam.
Yeah.
There are two questions. One is, he said, ill-structured problems, no real or exact answers.
Yep, correct. I agree with Zamzam. It sounds like ill-structured. In fact, it is purposely, done in that manner to trigger more feedback or more question actually. And like I told you just now, it's quite similar to PBL, and like what a lot of people are saying now, PBL can also be open-ended if you want to, right? So don't be too worried about PBL or CBL. The whole point is the first part of CBL is rather similar to PBL, based on my, if you look at my earlier slide, I mentioned that earlier, right? It's quite similar.
Yeah, you're right. Zamzam also say that he believes that PBL can be open-ended as well. It's up to us.
Yeah, agree.
And another question from Zamzam: can we design the question prompts ahead? I mean, if the students didn't ask any question or respond correctly.
Yeah, that's the time where you have to come in and then try to prompt more questions. But I know it's quite a challenge to have a CBL approach, because it depends on the learner's ability to ask good questions. So another task that I will share later is how to teach them to ask good questions so that you can prompt them and further input, or probably ask more questions so that they can go back to the problem or go back to the challenge and try to find better solution or try to find better answers. Sometimes if you think it's a bit too out of control, like just now, A, B, C, D is like all possible, then you might want to make sure that A and B, for example, are more likely to be the answers, and C and D are totally out. Then you kind of control the answers a bit. I mean, really, it's really up to you to decide what kind of option should be given so that the learners are not too blown away or they go too far, right? Like what Zamzam and Zamir has mentioned, which is very good.
Okay, Kee Man, maybe we can move on. Later on, I think maybe we want to address Professor Fong's question on the rubric for CBL.
Oh yeah. I don't prepare it today, but if you go to later on, I'll share a link. The link has a complete set by Apple themselves with the rubrics and how to carry out CBL. What I'm showing you is just the top 3 steps. There are so many other steps down there, like implementation until reflection. So I'm just showing the first 3 because I don't want to bore you with a lengthy process owing to CBL. So but the link that you can get from the link that I'm going to give you later will have all the details that you are asking.
All right.
Okay.
Clear.
Okay. What else do you think will go on long? Okay. Anyway, let's go to challenge number 2. This one I try to relate to the current situation. I call it challenge the pandemic. Many people are not taking COVID-19 pandemic seriously, assuming you are given the task to make people stay at home during it should be period, not period of movement control order. What would you do, right? There's a typo there, sorry. So what you need to do now is to respond in wooclap.com/CBL, right? So I'm gonna, you can see the question first, and then I'm gonna go to this one. You able to go in?
Yeah.
I'm gonna fix period, right?
There's another.
As you can see, as I am giving you the challenges, I'm introducing you some tools that you can use. Not necessarily you have to use it, but just some options for you.
WooClap.
Yeah, wooclap.com.
Okay, nice. Second tool I learned today. Love it. Okay, what would be the best way in ensuring people stay at home during movement control order? Wow. Okay.
So you will see a set of options. This is a bit restrictive, purposely done that way, just to show you other possibility of using CBL. This is like if you have slightly weaker, I wouldn't say weaker, but maybe slightly more handicapped student who may not know a lot about the current situation, you might want to give certain option for them to choose so that they don't just, wait for you to prompt further questions and all that. So this is one way. Give them possible solution.
So
But in this case, you're supposed to rank it. You have 100 points up there. You have to rank the measures according to which one you think is more important.
Okay.
The one that you think is more important, then you give higher points, right? But you cannot use more than 100 points. Let me just go to that screen now. Okay, I can see your answers coming in, about 61 responses so far. Number one is introduce a total lockdown, just put offenders in jail, create more awareness, provide free food and support. These are based on your points that you assigned, right? I have about 63 people going in.
Introduce total lockdown.
Yeah, seems like you all want it.
So I can see 63. 63 is number of what?
Number of people log into the page. The
Okay.
one in front is the one who have submitted the answers.
Okay.
So I kind of have like 63 people now, right?
But in the live chat, I can see 106.
Yeah.
Oh. So meaning that some are not
Participating.
Yes. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
Just that at least they see how it works.
Zahiruddin here. Dr. Zahiruddin, how are you?
Okay, this is one example of how you can introduce challenge-based, kind of like this to set the stage of the problem or this, what do you call it, the area of concern or the challenge. You introduce a few options, and then from here you try to ask further questions. For example, if a lot of students are choosing number one, introduce a total lockdown, then you have to proceed with further discussion. So let's say if you want to introduce a total lockdown, what would be the steps, what will be the consequences and all that. So you follow up with more questions out of the decision, right, that they have chosen. So this is the first stage of CBL, actually, the part where we talk about essential question and all that. So this is teaching them to generate more questions. And it doesn't mean that just because number one is introduce a total lockdown, student cannot defend other answers. So you might want to ask those who have chosen create more awareness as number one, or provide free food and support as number one, to give their voices as well. So this is one way to gather this kind of ranking-based feedback rather than one-off answer. So at least you see a trend of the answers, whether they are choosing number one or number two or number three and number four as the priority. So I will introduce you to WooClap a bit later, but I think you can go to wooclap.com. If you sign up, you get to choose types of questions, and one of the type is this one. Okay.
So Kee Man, from this type of exercise, you can also create scenario-based learning approach,
exactly.
right?
Exactly. Yes. In
because
fact,
each one of these is actually, you can have one scenario, then have a good discussion on that, right?
Correct.
Just you can have like, Kee Man, you can have like, okay, 4 groups. So each group will discuss what are the implications if we introduce a total lockdown. What are the implications if this and that, right?
Exactly, yes. It could be team-based. In fact, CBL is team-based. So it doesn't have to be individual like this. If you have your students group, earlier, they have been grouped earlier, then you can ask them to talk about different types of measures, by group. So that would be another way of doing this.
There's a question, Kee Man.
Yeah.
WooClap has no chat function.
No chat function. Yes, there is a chat function, but there are many options to be chosen. But I chose this one first.
Oh, okay.
We'll go to the next one.
Okay, sure.
Right. Can WooClap be used asynchronously? Yes, you can. You can just turn it on. Student can respond anytime they want, and then you come back. You can screenshot the answers, or you can embed that directly in your LMS, and then they get to see the feedback. But I think if you are talking about low bandwidth usage, you might want to just let them answer, and then just screenshot it, right? I tested on slower network. It seems to work okay because it will change the interface a bit to fit the bandwidth. Right? This one, but if you think this is a bit tricky to use, you can always use the forum method, and they can just type in the answers, right? Okay.
I think this is good because we are trying to categorize the type of application or tool, which one require low bandwidth, which one require high bandwidth, and so on.
Yeah. But I would appreciate if more of you can try this and see whether it works in your situation. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people don't know WooClap yet, but I kind of feel it's quite friendly and then straightforward. Something for you to consider. I'm not saying you have to use it, but it's something for you to consider. Okay. Let's say you have this done already. So if I were to click next now, you will be able to see a new set of questions. This one is like the typical brainstorming activity, but it's carried out online. So what happened here is you will see the question up there. What other ways can be done to encourage people to stay at home? So you can put categories like incentives, penalties, and others. If you go to the link now, the question interface will change to like this. You will have to type your thoughts and then pick the category of your answers. Let's say whether it's incentive, whether it's penalties or others. This is just example, by the way. Right? Then type your ideas in and then click submit. Right? Then it will appear in this particular screen. So can you try?
Sure.
What other ways can be done to encourage people to stay at home apart from the one that has been, listed just now, the 4 measures? So what other ways can you do or can be done to encourage people to stay at home? So you can choose whether it's incentive, penalties, or others, right? Type in your thoughts. Let's say I'm typing give 50 per day, for example, under incentive, and then I will just click submit. That's how you use this part. So imagine you're using like a sticky note concept where different color means different categories. So you write your answers and then you stick it on the panel or the mahjong paper and whatnot, right? So in this case, you're doing it virtually. I mean, this is how we try to encourage students to generate or brainstorm more ideas. Okay, you can try. Don't worry if you can't give a lot of answers.
How do we see the answers? Okay.
Now you are seeing answers.
All right. Okay.
You can't see it. Only I can see it. The person who created can see it.
Okay.
What I like about WooClap is it shows you can focus. Let's say if you look at incentive, you can focus on incentive. If you look at penalties, you'll be able to look at penalties. And then, you go by categories. You can even scatter them in grid like this. All right. And now it's sorted by category. So it's just like sticky note. And then you can kind of look through the answers. If it's similar, then you can remove or merge them and so on. Right.
I think this is good for next time when we have a strategic planning workshop.
Brainstorming.
They do have to waste the sticky note.
And then the amazing thing about WooClap is you can export it in Excel, and then the export file actually categorized by the categories. So you don't have to screenshot, or you don't have to copy and paste. It's
wonderful,
exported in Excel format. Right? Imagine if you ask your student to do brainstorming like this, and then you are worried about how to keep record of all of this. You just have to go back to WooClap dashboard, and then you just export it in Excel format. You can save it as for your record. What I normally do is I put the file in my LMS as well. The student can always refer back to the discussion later. Just that this one is done a bit more fancy in terms of the interface, but the output is what matters the most. I think the answers that they give, and then so that you can keep, and at the same time trigger more questions.
Free fine 50 ringgit per kantoi.
This is interesting, right? Okay. Stronger penalty, provide free internet. These are all, all the solutions.
Cool
ideas. You guys are very cool. Right.
Okay.
So let's say if I'm done and I want to stop this, I just have to click exit.
Okay.
Then you will go to my dashboard. As you can see, it allows many types of questions. The free version allows you to have only 2 questions per event, but unlimited event. You can create as many classes as you want, or as many sessions as you want, but per session only two questions. So that's the free version. The one that I used just now is called Brainstorming, the one that you see, right? So let's say if I were to export this, if I click export, I have all your answers just now in my Excel file, right? So I can keep it as a record. At the same time, I can also use it for analysis if I want to, like this one, incentive, penalties, right? And then I can also do others. If you're talking about low bandwidth, they can also answer by SMS if they want to, but I think you don't need that for now. That would incur costs. So, but they allow SMS voting or SMS responses as well. Okay, so this is WooClap. I'm gonna stop share a bit to show you the Excel format. It looks like this. Okay, because I'm talking and then without showing you how it looks like.
So
okay, this is how it looks like in Excel format. Sorry, I forgot to share the screen just now. All right. Okay, this is how it looks like. So you see all the answers are kept, in the file, so you can keep it. Okay. So no worries about losing the screenshot, losing the session and whatnot. You still get to keep all the answers. Imagine if you ask more, more critical questions or more challenging questions, so you get to keep them. All right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Any other question before I move on? That's the second one.
Okay. Let me see. Can we move the answers between the categories?
Yes, you can. Let me show you how. So if I start, okay, just now because I stopped it, now I don't have the answers, but you can, they're like this. Can you see it? Right?
Oh, yeah.
The magical thing is every time you move it, you can see the color changes according to the categories. So you don't have to waste sticky notes. I always see a lot of sticky notes in the dustbin, so I felt like, okay, we need to do some tutorials as well. So many. All right, okay. Okay, so any other question for this one before we move on? That's the second one.
No. A question about FOC or pay?
FOC for 2 questions per session. How to put it? It's free, but with limitation.
As usual.
Yeah. You can create everything is called event in WooClap. So you can create unlimited event. You can create unlimited event, but per event you can only ask 2 types of questions.
Oh, okay. Not bad.
Not bad, right? Because it's unlimited, so you can do as many.
Yeah.
Per session means that that's now. If I have 2 questions, I can go to the second one immediately, without having to stop it and then start it. Just now you see I go from one question to the other one immediately by pressing the next button. So that's the only benefit that you get if you put it in one. Or else you can always have multiple session lah, right? You can duplicate as many as you want. Okay, can try, right? If you have not tried it before. Any questions on this before I go to the last one? Any question on this? No. Okay. Last challenge. This is a bit
challenging.
Not really challenging, more close to hard, I think. Students are resisting boring lectures and meaningless exams. So you are tasked to find out possible solution for this. In order to do so, what are the essential questions that should be addressed? So instead of giving me answers, you need to give me questions. This is going back to the principle of CBL where you ask essential questions. So can use this tool, Slido, if you've used it before, sli.do.
We have used before. It's quite popular now.
Yeah, quite popular. And then just key in CBL vote. Just key in CBL vote and then try to give questions, not answers or not statements, questions. So we will see your question from there. Are you able to go in?
Yeah.
Okay, just type in your questions. Okay, I'm gonna show you how it looks.
So we get a few questions already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to show this. Oops, okay. Okay, I'm gonna share this screen. Okay, I'm sharing the screen now. So these are the questions that you have given. Notice that in Slido, you are able to see other people's questions as well. Are you able to see other people's questions, by the way? You should, right?
Sorry, yeah, Kee Man?
Are you able to see other people's questions as well, or you?
No, yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay.
You can see, yeah.
Yeah.
It's on the screen now already.
Let's say after you ask the question and everyone is giving you all this feedback, all the questions. So what you can do is you can also ask users to vote for the question. So let's say you have the similar question, instead of typing it out again or pose the same question, you can vote for that particular question. Let's say you vote this one. Right.
So let's see which question is the most popular, right?
Yeah, correct. It's like the hot question.
But everyone can only vote once, right?
Correct. But you can change that setting, I think, because in Slido you can change the setting to be,
allow them to vote multiple times, right?
Yeah.
Just like in Mentimeter, also you can set that.
Correct. So you can vote for the questions. So again, in CBL, you have to ask the essential question. So the essential question should be the one that you think would be relevant. Like this one, does the student have enough sleep, rest? That's a good question actually, right? You might have You might not have thought about that, right? Age of learners. Why do you feel that that lectures are boring? Have you made learning meaningful to the students, right? Okay, so I mean, you get my point. So the student get to list out all the questions. You get them to vote, and then maybe pick the best questions and start to work on the questions and try to come up with solution. Let's say if I were to pick on this, what will captivate your attention? Does the student have enough sleep? So what are the things that we can do in order to make sure that the delivery of our teaching is more captivating, and they get to have enough rest and all that. So I mean, these are the questions that instead of we give them, they generate, and then we derive solution or derive ideas from their own questions, not our questions. Right? This is like reversing the role.
Yeah.
I think Prof mentioned about Sugata Mitra just now in his talk. He mentioned about curriculum of big questions. So I think this is one way of helping people or helping students especially to think of better questions so that they can solve real life problems or real life challenges instead of just waiting for us to give the questions.
Yeah.
It's quite challenging to implement CBL, honestly, but something for you to consider. Maybe part of it is as a trigger, or part of it as one of the way to be included in your delivery, right?
I think, Kee Man, in order to do CBL effectively,
Yep.
I think we also need to master the skill of questioning, I think.
Right. Which is related to the book that you introduced the other day.
I'm still learning, actually. It's actually a very interesting approach. Asking the essential question, what are the essential questions? How do we design the sequence of questions to, building up from the simple to the more complex questions? So this, I think, is part and parcel of designing good CBL, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the students have to be encouraged to ask more questions rather than waiting for them to give answers alone. So at least they give questions, and then we try to come up with answers together rather than they have to figure out themselves. Like Dr. Fitri here asked, what makes exam meaningless, for example, right? So if they tell us more, we could improve how exams are done, or maybe how assessment should be done, right? So without asking all these kind of questions, then we will not be able to know. Okay. This one is very interesting. You want money? How much? All right, the latest question. Okay. Yeah. But as you can see, the more question you posted, as more people agree to your answers or to your questions, sorry, and then they vote, you get to see the top, questions for you to work on as a group. Okay. Any question on this? I think I'm about to end.
We use this to. Okay, no question on this one.
Okay.
But maybe I can ask Kee Man. Kee Man.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to share the screen? Anything you want to show on the screen?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if you have finished with the screen, maybe you can stop sharing that.
Okay. I just want to end with this one. Before I wrap it up, I just want to end with this one. If you're guided by the right design or activities, tools are just tools. Pick the tool that would best achieve the intended learning outcome. Most importantly, provide a level playing field for your learners, meaning try not to handicap certain learners. If you know that some of your learners are not well connected, then you might want to change the tools that you use. All the activities that I show you just now can be done in a different platform or in different tools. So you choose the best tool to go ahead with that kind of questions or with that kind of task or challenge. So you decide what is best for the learners based on the tools. So I think if you think a lot of your students are not able to get connected, you can always use the text-based forum in your LMS and so on. You don't have to go to all these fancy tools, right? So if you want to get the tool just now, just go to this link, ease.gd, CKM share, then you will be able to get the slides and also the reading materials and so on. All right, just in case you need it.
Kee Man, on your slide, on the bottom right-hand corner, maybe some people probably curious what those symbols mean.
This one?
Yeah, some people might curious, so maybe you can.
It's pretty common, so you can share a like, all right, as long as you give credit lah. But I think even no credit is okay lah. Just share it out. It's pretty common. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So you are done with the.
I think I'm done. Yeah, I will stop sharing the screen
Okay.
now. I'll pass back to Prof. Karim.
All right. Okay. All right. I think this was very interesting, Kee Man. Maybe if our participants have any question, they can post on the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
But maybe I just want to ask you one question here, Kee Man. With all these challenge-based, problem-based, and so on, which I think that's how we should approach our online class or even a face-to-face class, even. So that we are not just giving content, teaching content, and so on. But one common question that people ask me, if you do all this, will you have enough time to cover the syllabus within the technical?
That's we always get that, right? I mean,
yeah,
whether it's a question of our own, you know, our own design of learning. I think, I don't know. I mean, if you are the owner of the course, you design the course, and you yourself think that it's not enough time to cover all, then why did you design it that way? I mean, my question is always like that. You design a 14-week course, and then you put so many things in, and then you tell that, oh, we cannot finish in 14 weeks. And why did you design in such a way then? Because ultimately, we are the one who design the so-called course outline and course content and so on. So I think if you think it's not sufficient to cover so many things in one, then perhaps the course should be relooked, maybe divide into 2 courses, or maybe 2 different focus, or if you really have to cover it in that course as well, I think you have to really decide which are the essential one and which are not so essential one, and focus on the essential one first. But again, people will come back and say, how do you decide which one is more important, which one is not? I think I have no answer to that, because you are the expert. You should know. Let's say if I want to train a botanist, what should a botanist know, based on that course? If I want to train a person in linguistics, for example, what should they know in order to be called themselves a linguist? So it's hard to decide whether it's enough or not enough, I think. But if you have the freedom to design, then redesign your curriculum so that it's not too burdensome for you to finish everything in 14 weeks and try to cover so many things, which is actually meaningless, because you are just rushing through everything and students are not learning well, right? I mean, that's my point of view.
Yeah, my answer to that is always maybe we need to change the mindset of the lecturer, the teacher, covering the material.
Yeah.
But rather we design all this based learning and so on to let students to uncover the material, uncover. So it's all about them, letting them to uncover rather than we cover the syllabus for them, the content for them. So of course we need to learn how to kind of spread the activities and so on, so that we can ensure that at the end of the day, towards at the end of 14 weeks, all the learning outcome as stated in our course can be achieved successfully, right?
Yep, agree. Totally
so
agree.
I just want to end with a few slides here. Just 2 or 3 slides here. In terms of promoting engagement in online course, these are some of my ideas. So of course, people need people, interaction matters. Maybe we can create a dynamic virtual learning environment. I don't have time to elaborate here. Maybe we can have it in the other series. Build a sense of community. So we talk about social learning and so on. Peer feedback. Maybe we need to have a short kind of lectures. Then we can add or mix with different activities and so on. And maybe we need to have also gamification. Maybe I will invite, I think Kee Man also, you can talk about gamification as well, right?
Yeah, but get somebody else.
Storytelling, spark discussion, reflection, use real life example, for real-time issues, encourage deeper thinking through Socratic questioning, and online collaborative project. So I guess that's about all that I want to share. Let me stop the screen sharing here.
I saw one
Yeah.
question from
So
Zamzam about
before we wrap up
reflection.
the session, do we have any question? Prof Fong, just now have we addressed the question from Prof Fong? What are the challenges and solutions to reach out 100% students that are now dispersed all over remote areas? Oh, this is about inclusivity, Kee Man. We're having this problem.
Wow,
Like, yeah.
that's a tough question.
And
I don't think I can answer that.
roughly, students don't have basically access to online. So how do we solve that problem? There's no easy solution, I guess.
No, easy. I mean, not only they don't have internet connection, they are not allowed to move. That's the tricky part. If they don't have internet, but they are still allowed to move, we can still figure out how to gather them at one place and maybe, and try to give them internet. But now it's a tricky situation, I think. Okay. It's not just about the internet because they can't move. That's the problem.
So we don't have a definite answer for that. Please, I think we need to crack our head together. Of course, we don't want to leave out anyone. Everything should be included. So that's what the inclusivity or inclusiveness is about, and the SDG 4. Yeah. But then there's no easy way or easy answer for that. So, Mr. Chuah Kee Man, I would like to thank you. I think the participants and myself also have learned something new. I have read a lot about challenge-based learning as well.
Okay.
I have one model which I discovered by accident from one website. Yeah. So maybe I will share that in another session where they designed the challenge-based learning very systematically. I will share this sample maybe in the next session. We can continue on challenge-based learning.
Because the whole process is quite long, right, Prof? Yeah. I mean, it's not what I'm sharing is just the tip of the iceberg because it's the first 3 steps. Yeah. So explore more. Yeah.
In the next session, I think we will have Dr. Hafiz Hanef, probably on Wednesday, maybe, to talk about the pitfalls and the challenges of online learning. So hopefully, I will announce the exact time. For now, thank you very much, Mr. Kee Man, and thank you everyone for joining our session this afternoon. Although all of us are very busy, I know all of you are extremely busy. Thank you for your support, and please share the recording of this video for those who are not able to join today, because we want to help as many people as possible. We want to share and learn together. This is all about learning. We are not teaching anything, but we are sharing basically, because we are not really expert in, I am food technology, so probably I can say expert, but not on this area. So with that, thank you so much, and we'll see you in another session. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, everyone.
And goodbye.